But HomWork is great, and so I wanted her to talk about. I met her a week ago today, right? No, a week ago.
Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know. A day.
It was a week ago. We met each other in Newport Beach at Realty 401. I spoke there at an event, and I gave a presentation. And I saw this sharply dressed lady that was just stunning. She walked in there, and the earth just stopped. Time stopped. And I was like, who is this lady here? She looks like she's brand new money. Or old school money. But I'm telling you, she had a persona about her that I just needed to know her. And I didn't want to, but yes I did. I said I did. She told me that. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I did. So and she told me, yes she did. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm glad I did, because when I met with her, she was talking to 3 other people, and I don't know what it was, but I needed to interject myself in that conversation. And I'm glad I did, because we've been talking, for the last couple of weeks, regularly, and I'm talking about how she's going to come up here and do some things. We want to work together and do some stuff together as well. So I wanted her to share what she does, because she's built a business, and she's been married, and she's been married, so that's another clue. So, and she has her life, and so she'll share her story. I don't want to take her thunder away, but I thought she would be of value to our group that we have here. So hopefully we can see people out there on Facebook Live. I see you folks. And again, everyone, give a Long Beach welcome to Desiree Dubois.
One thing I didn't find out, Barry, because you came in later, are you in real estate, or you are transitioning to real estate full time?
I am in real estate passively. I own a second home, but I am transitioning to more active market.
Okay, all right. Because that way I'm going to tailor my conversation accordingly. So I'm Desiree Dubois, and I'm a founder of HomWork, but as well as an empowered woman. So it's still a little bit my journey. I've been an entrepreneur since 12 years old, so I've always worked for myself. So some of the things that I'm sharing with you is because I think that experience is the best teacher, and that's the journey that you really need to learn things from. My first still thing, people say, what do you do at 12 years old? Well, remember, I would go to dance class on a Saturday morning, and then at the local community center, I would teach that same dance lessons in the afternoon to little children, like small children. So it really was a glorified babysitting service, but they paid me, and I just taught them what I learned. And then when we had our recital at our dance school, I had a recital at that dance school. And we sold tickets, and my mother and I got a sewing machine and made the costumes and charged them for that. And so the day of the recital, we had a packed house. My brother was at the front door collecting ticket money and tickets. My sister was back there doing the records, and we were doing the recital. All of a sudden, when the management comes in, about 3/4 of the way in the show, and wants to shut us down. And the reason why, he says, you're over occupancy. So at 12 years old, didn't you see the sign? It's like, no, I didn't see any sign. Don't you know you're over occupancy? I don't even know what occupancy means at 12 years old. Anyway, so the mothers were not going to let their children stop performing. So they waited until we finished. And at the end of that session, or that recital, they shut me down. But the thing is, the interesting part, the lessons learned of all my experiences was, you can teach people something that you know. Many times I see people waiting for certifications, waiting for degrees and diplomas and all these different things before being able to exercise their ability to earn money from the information they have. So you can do it at any point. So the next project I had is that in school, how many of you had the world's famous chocolate bar?
Oh yeah.
The world's famous chocolate bar that you sold for fundraisers for $1? One day I opened it up, and I realized there was 12 pieces to that chocolate bar. So I started selling them for 10 cents a piece. So right on the playground to the kids that had boxes of bars with them. But they didn't have the $1, they had the 10 cents. And sometimes they would come to me 7 times, which they almost could have bought a bar. So I didn't have to leave the schoolyard. And as soon as the recess came, they were all running, coming to me. Like, talk about people coming to you. They would come to me and they'd buy the candy bars. So at the end of the drive, I won the prize for selling the most candy bars.
Wow.
And then I had 20 cents profit for each candy bar. So my lessons learned from that is that many times we have something, whether it's information or packages or programs, that we can actually break down and sell individually and make a lot more money from that way. So think of, we think people were doing CDs and DVDs and information. They was one price for the whole kit, but many times it's a lot of money. You can sell it off in little pieces and little chunks of that. So my next project was after that when I went to college, and I was in Marina Del Rey. I just came to California, and I noticed when the boats, the gentlemen would have parties or have fun, but they didn't wanna leave, they didn't wanna clean up. So I said to some of the other ladies in the school, how about doing the Marina Mermaid service? So it's like a Marina Mermaid, it's
Wow.
like a little maid, you know, and we had blue t-shirts, and I got little buckets, blue buckets, and I put the supplies in there. We charged the boat owners $35, they got 15, which is a lot of money, this is umpteen years ago, for us, you know, just whatever work they did, and I got $15 and $5 went towards the supplies. So that was, we put an ad in Argonaut newspaper, we were rolling, we were booked and booked and booked, they would come to my apartment, pick up the bucket, do their thing, go back to school. And we kept going until one young lady was smoking on board, and she caught one of the cushions on fire. So that was, the owner let us get away with just replacing the cushion, but he said we had to get insurance. And I was like 19 at that time, so getting insurance to be able to get other teenagers to clean $1 million boats, it was exorbitant.
Wow.
So that kind of, I said, well, that didn't make sense, it took away all of our profit. So I thought I was gonna come back to it later, because like every now and again I still look in Marina Del Rey and say, who's that? No one's got that Marina Mermaid service, and it's
Right.
still a need for
Well,
us.
that's a great service.
It is a great service, it was easy.
Mhm.
It was easy. But some other businesses have been, one of my largest one that created, I did called A Models Media. And Models Media, because I used to model and act and dance, and so we had it on Sunset Boulevard in the Burn Entertainment Center, which was a huge, huge building, 6525. And we had models coming and actors and dancers coming to start, to be in the show. So we used to do radio ads on like K-Rock and all the different rock stations, and people would, the phones would ring, and we would invite them in for an audition. And we would get some of the people from the different modeling agencies there for the audition. And we had professional and non-professional. And so if they were professional, they got a certain ticket that they would be paid for the performance in the show. Like shows like Hotter Than July, or Easter Magic, or different Winter Wonderland. But they got paid in a Models Media dollars. So they were money they had to spend back with us. So they had to either buy their portfolios, or they could buy makeup and things of that type with us. The money came right back to us. The non-professionals, they had to pay, but they could either get a sponsor to pay for it, they could get a sponsor that would get an ad in our program. So that means if they would have to go out and get that, they would be able to do that. And so it was a great program, we did thousands and thousands of shows, and that was my first million, and we would open like 360 days a year, everything besides holidays, and it was going on and on. So different businesses in different arenas, and most of it had to do with working with people. Then I led into being married and did music videos, and finally real estate. And real estate was 1989, I got my first license. And I did mostly, I thought, I had 2 children, I just gone through divorce, and I had 2 children, and I said, I need to be able to make as much money as I possibly can in the shortest amount of time, because I wanted to be with them. And so I wanted to build portfolios. Instead of selling someone a house, I'm gonna sell you a portfolio, which means I'm gonna say, you sell your house first, and then that's when the market will go up, and we're gonna take that equity, and we're gonna buy you now a duplex. And then we're gonna take that equity, and now we're gonna buy you a 4-plex, or buy you something else. So it's always about working with the same client and building their portfolios. And I got to a point where I was doing the same thing, leveraging, and people would say, I want you to duplicate, I want to duplicate what you have, which means that just like a stockbroker will sell certain stocks, but you want the stocks that he buys, because you know that's what if you buy it himself, you had a lot of belief and trust in the fact that he made that decision, he did the research. And so I started just duplicating what I had for different people. And people were at a point where they were out of the country or out of town, at that point where they would even give me blank checks, because when the market was going crazy, I said, I don't have time to wait for you to find you, because things were going fast. Give me a check, give me a blank contract, and I know what you want, and I will do it, put it under contract, but you have 3 days or 5 days to approve it before it was subject to their approval. And that way, I just had them in file. When I see a good deal, I could just go for it, and like 90% of the time, they actually went for it, because it was exactly what they wanted. So I was their real estate, they called me real estate diva. I did their real estate, and that's how I had them from going from another client, because we developed a relationship over time. So we did a lot of transactions. We actually did a lot of condo conversions, which means that we found apartment buildings, and we would say to the tenants that you want to buy this unit, you've been paying X amount of dollars for rent, and we would get them to move out for a period of time, whatever time it was, and we remodel the units and convert them into condos. And then to be able to qualify for a loan, many times they couldn't do it on their own, so we would carry a second trustee, you know, for whatever like their down payment would be. Those were the days where it was like no money down as long as they qualified. So we would do all what we needed to do to get them to qualify. And then they had like a year or 2 years to refinance us out and to be able to move on from there. So that was one thing that we really did a lot of, because a lot of people were doing a lot of that. There's certain areas that was really popular, like Long Beach and so forth. Then we did a lot of condo hotels. Condo hotels were when they were in Vegas, I think Las Vegas, and there was one in the Hard Rock Hotel. And that's when they had condominiums. You didn't own, if you didn't own the condo, you were actually, they didn't give you a trust deed. They gave you a trust line of credit for that. You got line of credits for it. And you had the room, like a hotel. When you were there, you didn't, you know, you would stay there so much yourself. But when you weren't there, you were able to rent it out. And they had full front desk service, maid service, room service, everything they had all that service. So we got the percentage. Some of the companies took 50% of your revenue, and some took as little as 30%. But it was pretty high, but again, you didn't have to do anything. They rented it out for you. And there was a couple of those. We did triple nets. You know, triple nets were, you know, when you actually get the buildings and you do support. So that was able us that we did the dollar stores in Texas, because they were huge, like 9,000, 12,000 buildings, and we would take over. It was like really reasonable at that time. I don't remember what it was, but it was really reasonable for us to get and be able to do that. We did almost everything, because at that point we had to be really, really creative. We did all-inclusive trustees. You know what all-inclusive trustees are?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of all, when the interest rates were really, really high, people didn't qualify for the loans. So all-inclusive trustee was when you bought the property and you included the trustees that were in the property. So say the property had a trustee for $100,000, and then you wanted another $100,000. So then you wrote a note that included that first trustee and your trustee. They didn't have to, and sometimes they, at a certain point, or subject to, you bought the property subject to the trustees were on it. That was a way, a lot of people couldn't get financing, and that was a way of being able to, they would pay you one lump sum, and you would pay the first off, and then you would take the balance of what your second was going to be, until they were able to refinance it. And you even structured the refinancing, gave them incentive, like for the first year it was, 8%, second year maybe it was 9%, third year was 10%. So the longer they waited to refinance it, the more you paid in interest. So that was the incentive for them to refinance it quickly. But that was the way we could get into properties that had a decent interest rate at the time. And a lot of people, like, they couldn't qualify. I bought quite a few properties like that, where it was just, they did an AITD, all-inclusive trustee, or they call it wraparounds, or they call it, it's subject to. It used to be on the real estate contract. I don't think it's on the real estate contract anymore, is it?
No,
That option?
I've seen it.
Yeah, so we did those. We did seller carries, which means the seller carries the loan. You know, I have a property now in Palm Desert where I had like 10 properties, and 2 properties was going to foreclosure when the market fell. So I wasn't really able to qualify for a loan for a while. So I had to find seller financing, which means they had to own it free and clear, or they had to have a note they could, you know, pay off. And I bought it for a certain price, and they carried the note for me. They carried the loan for me, and I paid them X amount of interest on it. So they were the bank. So it didn't involve the bank. Now I had 5 years, and now I had to refinance one of them. So it's been 5 years. So that's one way when people say they can't qualify for the loan, you find a seller that will carry. And the funny thing is that at that time, my credit was like pits. But before he even pulled it, I wrote him a letter of explanation. I said, okay, then before you waste your time or my time, this is what's happened. This is what I've done. This is what's happened. This is why it happened. And this is why I'm trying to rebuild. And he never pulled the credit report. He says, okay. He says, I feel if you did it once, you'll do it again. And to this day, you know, it was fine. So things like that. It's being able to find all of the different deals that we are able to do or partner. So after I was doing all the real estate for all those years, I wanted to get women. Most of my clients were men. I said, I want to get women involved in buying real estate and doing what I was doing, because they see me and they said I could do it. And I had 2 children. I was a single woman. And so I invited them into my house and for a lunch, a brunch, and introduced myself, and they knew me. But I brought in different speakers, like I brought in motivational speaker, and they started talking and sharing and crying and, you know, going up for, you know, just getting excited. So we said, let's do it again. And we did it again until we did it 9 months in my home. And it was so crowded that people were bringing their lawn chairs and their beach chairs, because it was crowded. And we said, okay, well, this but this is not, what I was intending for it to be, because it's more emotional. And as he said, take it to someplace larger. So I took it for 12 years. I had an organization called Empower Women, where I helped women monetize their expertise. And monetizing it almost the same way that I did, all those different years of things that I used, the different technology that they have today. And we did that until the market crashed, and we decided to do magazines, we did live events, we did podcasts, we did videos. But what's really important from that is a program that I called the Power of 7. And it was very, very popular with real estate agents because I had a history of being a real estate agent, a broker as well, but also for anyone in business. And what that is that over the years, all the different businesses that I've worked with and established, there's been 7 key things that you need to do when you're starting. And I want to share those with you because especially in this industry, like when you have a direct marketing, when you have real estate, because all of you have the same inventory. It's for realtors. You have access to the same real inventory that he would have, or the next realtor, next realtor, next realtor. And even if you're thinking about getting started, now, I think he's got such a great smile. No matter what you're doing, and I have people that are like architects, or people that I have a neurosurgeon, I have someone that's a lot of doctors. They say, well, I need to do a podcast, I need to promote myself. How can I do that? And so the couple things you want to think about. One, and even this in your transition, but especially if you're in the real estate business, is decide what you want to do. And there's a niche. There's always a niche in whatever you're doing. If you can find a niche, then that really separates you. For example, if you are going to a doctor and you had one of the eye doctor, you really would rather go to an eye doctor than go to someone that does feet, eyes, knees, everything else. Right? So that's because he's an expertise. So try to become an expert in whatever area you want to be in. And how you do that is going to all the different events, going to all the meetups and all the networks and here, and we'll see what other people are doing. And then after you find out what they're doing, kind of narrow yours down and say, okay, that sounds like me, I resonate with that. Once you narrow it down, say, I'm interested maybe in this and this, then narrow it down even more. Go to those meetups, go to those meetings specifically about that and see if that's your tribe. See if, hear the success stories in that. Many times people think, I'm going to be this, and they put a lot of time and effort in it, and it kind of doesn't really work for them. Because they either have the same amount of money they want to make, or doesn't allow them to have the flexibility, the freedom that they want. So make sure, go wide and then go narrow and narrow. And you don't have to worry about going really narrow because of the fact that whatever it is enough for you. So I went to women. I've always gone to women and business women and entrepreneurs. That's always been my niche. So people, the advantage of that is if a sponsor, if someone else wants that market, they will come to me. They know Desiree always, her events, everything is about women in business. So I want to go to her if I want to find speakers for women in business and so forth. So now, again, now we have access to the whole wide world. So no matter how narrow you want it to be, you'll be able to find that. Once you nail that niche and you can research it further, then start thinking about how you're going to create it yourself, like based on your lifestyle, based on your time that you have available. If you only have 4 hours a week or 20 hours a week, or you have full time, decide whether you want to work in the office, out of the office, in the field, locally, internationally, children. Just really narrow it down. If you're doing real estate, there's so many different areas of real estate that you can work with. So again, try to narrow it to that point. And then establish it, and then take the next step and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a card, think of the name, play with the names, share the name, start sharing your names with people, get the ideas out there. When you get the name, get your website, get it registered, get your website, start doing things like getting your business cards. But even before you do that, check them with your legal and your accounting, your basic supporters. Because you may say, I'm going to do this, and then maybe there's extensive licensing that's required. Maybe there's a credential that you need. It's going to take years to get. So go to a training, or go to the city, or go to whatever governing body that you have and say, I want to do this in this way, in this place, and what's involved. So make sure that you can go to the next step with that. You don't get stuck middle of your journey. Then for the accounting, make sure that you think of a conversation with someone. What would it take? What would I need to do with that? Because the accounting can be very simple, where you can do it yourself, or can be really expensive. You got depreciation if you got this and that, this factor. Not every accountant knows how to do that. And that's one way to get really burned really quickly, is not have your accounting, because you know who would find you if your numbers are not right.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam, exactly. And they'll ask for records of if you're doing rehabs, where's all those records? If you're doing this, where's all your records? So just get someone that you know. And some people say, well, I can't, and I've been guilty of this, I can't afford to do that yet. Well, then I'd say now, if you can't afford to do that yet, you're not ready to start. And if you're not ready to get the proper legal and accounting, because you can be anywhere in your journey and all of a sudden you just shut right down. Again, these are experiences that I've had where I got shut down because I was not prepared, my foundation was not strong enough. So get your foundation strong enough, even if it's in registering your name and doing things of that type. And then the next thing is start promoting, going out there. So you go to the events, you got your card, you got your 30-second elevator pitch. You got, even if you don't have your business started yet, this is what you do. You have to step into that place. This is what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it, to see what people are responding, how the response is. Because again, no matter how much research you do and how great of an idea it is, if nobody that you talk to wants it, then it's no use. Exactly, you're back to square one. And there's nothing better than to say I'm going to do this and get a good feedback from it. When you start a new company, oh gosh, it's a great idea. That gives you the affirmation. Now that's one thing, whether they're going to buy it or not, it's a second story, but at least you have that public opinion that is a good idea. If you get nobody says they don't understand what you're doing, that's the first red flag. Then you need to redefine it, or you need to explain it, or you need to find a different market, because maybe you're not in your niche, you're not in the right market. If it takes too much explanation, then perhaps you're in too wide of a market. So really kind of do that, not only in person. Now, what's really, really beneficial now is for us that we have different access to ourselves as far as podcasts and videos and so forth. So get yourself, sign up as a Blog Talk Radio. It's a Blog Talk Radio, and it's a free service. Everything that I use is free. You can go in and start a podcast. And the podcast, the advantage of the podcast, first of all, is free advertising. It's also really a great, it could be, keep it short. They give you like a 15-minute segment. Do 5 minutes. I did like a take 2 for a period of time. Take 2 minutes, but consider this. And I said 2 minutes, consider owning the price of owning your real estate and renting your real estate. Now just whatever, something short and sweet, as long as you just do it and get a habit of doing it. Why is that important? How is that going to be valuable to you? Is that one, again, you've got another credential. Say, I have a podcast. Not everyone has a podcast. I have a podcast. And then it also allows you to extend an invitation to others that you want to have a relationship with. So suppose you wanted a better relationship with Alton, and what you going to talk about? What are you going to do? You can invite him to interview him on your podcast, and he's going to say yes. So all of a sudden, it gives you his ear. He listens to you tell about what you do and how you do it. Now he knows you by first name, and he knows what you do, and you have that relationship. So I've never had, only one person in 12 years say or pass on me inviting to do a podcast. That was Gloria Aldrich. She wanted to be paid for it. So otherwise, everyone else, no matter who we asked, they said yes, because they all want the publicity themselves. And what I would say to them is like, what are you working on? What do you want to promote? So then it's all about them, and you format it, different ways of formatting it. I have a lot of different ways, whether it's interview style or Q&A style, whether you bring it out to the community, whether you ask questions, whether you just do it, tape it, record it, and then share it. There's a lot of things you can share with your social media, but really all of a sudden you become an expert. You become the expert in that industry. And it automatically goes into iTunes. Again, you do something else to share with your social media. So it's that one simple link, Blog Talk Radio. You just pick up the phone, call in the phone number. They call in the phone number. It's done. I don't bother with the music. I don't bother with anything. Now you can do all that, but it's just really simple and free. Another thing is that your video. In the search engine, video is the #1 optimization. And then audio is #2 optimization, and your written word is #3. So you want, and especially now that Google owns YouTube, then you do want to rank higher on Google, then you have YouTube videos. And people have made millions and millions of dollars on YouTube videos. So you do the same thing, you do the exact same topic. So for example, which niche, do you have an idea what niche you'd want to do in real estate?
Not yet.
Not yet? What about you, Tom?
Rehabbing?
Rehab them? Okay. So there it says you call yourself Rehab the Riches. I think of a good name. And you do the videos on that. And you can either do where you just kind of go on the set. You see people with their iPhones now or iPads. I mean, you do it the way, there's definitely great ways of doing camera crews and lights and all that good stuff. But to start, because people are so used to now seeing things raw and real, people are in their cars, they're in their bathrooms and doing whatever it is, then that's okay. And so you can either take it onto different sites, the rehab sites, and point out the one thing they're doing or not doing, or you could actually just talk about it, or interview people that have done rehabs, what their horror stories is. You know, for the shock value, you can say, you know, I'm like, you know, to get a name that's like rescues from rehab. You know, and then you have that name just show this. People will think, oh, that's cute. What is that? What's something people are going to listen to? And you get talk to rehabbers and say what was something you had to do to rescue. You know, that you rescued rehab. You had to do the rescue, whatever. That's an idea. But then you find the 12 most commonly asked questions, whatever your niche is. So what's the most common? You go to Google and say the most commonly asked questions on rehab. The reason why you go to Google, because again, that's the source. And if you use those questions as your topics, then people are already, traffic is already going there. So you don't have to go on Google and try to say, how am I going to get this traffic? You're going to go on Google, see where the traffic is already going. And that's going to be your topics. So you go right into Google and you immediately see the search. Are you familiar with that? You see the number of people searching the topics. So you can, and it's different when you go to Google, look for the amount of people that are doing it. Say, for example, we called ourselves an empowered woman. But when we Googled it, we looked at empowered women, W-M-E-N, or we Googled empowered women. We kept playing with it to find out what was the best one, and an empowered woman got the most searches. Empowered in a woman that says opposed to women. So you go and put yourself in that position. So you can try the same topic, the questions in different ways. The what, who, when, there, and why. People go to Google, they're going in to find who did this, or where did this, or what did you do for that, or why does this happen, or, you know, when did so-and-so pass? I mean, so that's, your question should have those words in it, who, what, when, where, why, and when, something to that point. And that's how you have your topics for, that's 12 months worth of topics. That's 12 months, so this month I'm talking about this part of it, you know, rehabs. This month I'm talking about dollars of rehabs. This month I'm talking about whatever it costs the rehabs or whatever. So you've got your topics and you simply put a topic each month. And then each topic you have, you can always do subtopics. You know, you can always do, if you're talking about the surprises in rehab, you know, and you make it as like interesting and, you know, fun as possible. People want the shock value, get people's response to it. Then you can always do a sub, if you do it 4 times a week and 4 times a month, you do the first big topic. And this month I'm going to talk about not only the cost of rehabs, but I'm going to talk to you how many people pay more, when people pay too little, and then how to get your ROI or whatever the case may be. So, but that month you know you're talking to that. That month you're bringing in people that have that conversation with you about that. And then you know those people are going to find it. So when they Google, you know, that question that you took off of Google, they're going to find you. And if you're doing it in video, they're going to find you faster because your video optimizes most because of YouTube. And if they'll also see your audio. And then also see you write a script about it that you can also use for your social media, especially like LinkedIn. LinkedIn has the best articles, and LinkedIn has the highest income bracket of people in social media. They're usually 6 figures plus, they're professionals. So if you're looking for investors, if you're looking for to buy, people that have money or have education or have jobs, then that's a great place to do articles. So you've gotten your written word, your articles, your questions. You utilize that as your script for your podcast, which is free with Blog Talk Radio. You utilize that for your video, which is free. You put it on YouTube. And you put the keywords and the tag words, like what else is related to that, in there. And then you do a live event. So when you do those things for a period of time, then you're ready for your launch. And it doesn't matter what kind of launch you have. Your launch can be here. Say, Alton, would you sponsor my launch? You can go to your local title company. They have conference rooms. Will you sponsor my launch? Anyone in the industry will be willing to work with you and sponsor that because they have the same clientele. They want to advertise. They bring new bodies into their place. And don't think, oh, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It's a great opportunity to get press, because chambers of commerce, local newspapers, even large newspapers, they want to cover these events. They'll give you free publicity to cover your launch and have the launch. If you decide to do a chamber, they do a ribbon cutting. They do publicity for that. What it is that it gives you an opportunity to tell everybody what you've been up to. And they will become, even if they're not interested, to support you. And then you get a lot of publicity from that. You do Facebook Lives or things of that type, and then you get your buzz going. That kind of, more importantly than actually doing the event is what it does for you into your mind. You know, because of the fact that now you feel like you're actually doing it, even if you're doing it once a month. If you're just doing it, if not even actually making money at it yet. You can do these things that gives you the positioning that you're really doing this and you're doing it well. Because think of it this way. If you're a realtor, and we know there's thousands of realtors, and I'm interviewing you to list my property, and you've been in business for 20-something years, whatever that is. But she's also a realtor. She's been in business for 20-something years. But you say, you know, I'm going to come in, I'm going to do the open houses, and I'm going to do this and this and market your property. Okay, great. And you say, hey, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to interview you, you know, and I have a podcast I've been doing for every week, and I have this many listeners now over time. I'm also going to do a video, you know, put it on my YouTube channel. And at YouTube, they say, well, how many subscribers do you have? Don't worry about how many subscribers I have. Let's talk about the millions of people that go to YouTube for real estate, okay? So that's your numbers. All of a sudden, your statistics, your audience, your viewers have grown. There are thousands of people that may be going to that. Because you Google how many people watch YouTube videos on real estate. Those are your potential audience. And you say, oh, and I give live events. Once a month, I give an event at a title company in a conference room. And these are our 12 topics we talk about through the year. And every month, I have a videotape. I have people there. I will talk about these topics, but also I'll mention the things I have for listings, the listings I have. Hey, by the way, you know, this is what I have going right now, and you're more than welcome to come as well, and I'll introduce you if you come to this event. And then I do an article. An article's going to go on, you know, the social media. That's what I'm doing for you. Which realtor would you choose?
Thanks, Russell.
Which realtor would you choose?
Yeah, the one that's really
It's happened to
proactive.
Exactly. And you're not even worried at that point about the numbers, and you know he could even be charging the higher commission, but it feels like it's worthwhile.
Right.
And they don't know that he's doing all this for free. It doesn't cost them anything. That he's doing his events, you know, at a free space, and his podcasts are free, and his YouTube is free, and the articles are free at LinkedIn and other places. You can even write for different real estate online newspapers and magazines. They're always looking for content. And I used to do that. I don't like writing a lot, so I'll say I'll do a 4-part series. So I'll do a 6-part series. That means it ties me up for 6 weeks or 6 months, not forever and ever and ever and ever. But once I do that, I've got those printed articles. I've got that print. I can say I'm an author for this real estate magazine or car magazine or this or this and this. It's all credentials that you've been able to do. So now you've got that, and they'll never be able to take that away from you. So to really do it systematically, no matter what industry you're doing, you again start with that. Then they get to something about as far as now building your clientele. So say month 1, you're going to talk about what I did is I went through the real estate contract. And when I started real estate, it was like only 3 pages. So it was much, much less involved. But I contacted a lender. I contacted a title company, the pest control company. I contacted and every month I talked about those items because they were on the contract and people wanted to know about, you know, again, the different types of title companies, the different types of home inspections, the different types of cost and escrow, different types of loans, jumbo loans, and, you know, whatever loans it is. So I invited my preferred partner and said, this month we're going to talk about title. And so I said, and my co-host is going to be Holly. Holly. So what's going to happen? So Holly, I'm going to call you. I'm going to interview you on my blog. I'm going to write an article about what you do and what the top 7 things or 5 things that you're supposed to be done as title. And then I'm also going to do a podcast with you. So when I come to your office, you call in, you do a 5-minute, 10-minute podcast. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to have a live event in my office or conference room so people can come. And in the back of the event, I'm going to have a camera, so I'll videotape you speaking on what you spoke on, and I can share with all my people on my list. But what's Holly going to do? she's gonna share with all her people in her list. Each time, that's why you do 4 parts. When you do the article, she's gonna share that article with her community. When we do the podcast, she's gonna share that podcast with the community. When we have the live event, she's gonna invite all her people to the live event, because she wants to be seen as well. And then when we have that video, she's gonna share that video with all the people in her community. Isn't she have the potential clients for me? Wouldn't that be a match for her clients, for my clients? Isn't they past title, clients? Isn't that gonna develop a strong relationship with her and I as well? And now I've promoted her as well as for myself. So let's say, for example, Holly only had 1,000 people in her database. Just 1,000, which is pretty small nowadays. So what does that mean then? My information has now been shared to 1,000 more people for free that now know about me, and they know about me in association with Holly, so they really, it's like a warm touch. It's not like a cold call, and they now, so if Holly's dealing with Alton, he must be cool, because I like Holly, I'm gonna like Alton. So next month I do it with another escrow company. If the escrow company only had 1,000 people in his database, and he's gonna share with his 1,000 clients, again, the same thing, they know, okay, well, Desiree is dealing with this title, this pest control, I said pest control, she must be cool, I'm gonna use her, because it comes at that referral. So at the end of the year, I have at the minimum 12,000 more people on my list that know about me. And forget her social media, forget her YouTube followers, forget, all those things. So it'd be thousands, that's how you grow your list. And every time you do those videos or those podcasts or those live events, you always get people to opt in. You always get them to opt into a free download, a free consultation for a free $100 off your title, off your escrow, or your home inspection, or free something. So people do everything for free, so they'll opt in. So that means that even they look at it, now I've captured their name and their email address, or whatever's information to me. And if they're in the room, you always give them something for free. You give them a free prize at the end of this, so you can get everyone's business cards, and you get everyone's information, and say, now you got it, and then you get a free something. It could be box of donuts, it doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be your thing. Because I ran out of things to give away, so I would go to people and say, well, what do you have I can give away? Now I'm promoting you. And it could be, for women, we would do spas and nails and jewelry and clothes, because everybody has that, that everyone wants that, and it didn't cost me anything, but I'm giving something away. I give away books, a lot of books that are real estate related or things of that type. So if you're always giving something away, you're always been able to capture people, information. If they have a book, do that. So now all of a sudden you've grown your list, you've hit all the different ways of reaching out to people, promoting to people, and you're much stronger in whatever you're doing. And then you can get sponsors. Once you start showing that you've got so many shows, usually it's about 10 to 12 shows. So if you did 4 a month, after 2 months or 3 months, you can say to the sponsor, hey, why don't you pay me $500 a month? And I will say, special thanks to our sponsors at the beginning of my podcast, or video, or a live event, or article. Put their link in there. Special thanks to Click for, supporting us in this way. And there you're driving traffic, and they'll pay you for that. Because if you're able to show that you're consistent in doing whatever you decide to do, they want that same audience. And they want to be another plumber that wants to be in front of more people when they need to close escrow. That's cheap for him to spend $500 a month to get in front of potential clients, because I'm sure each client doesn't get more than $500 on a job. So it could be a contractor, it could be anyone in that area, it could be a lender. So then you get sponsors. So not only would you get revenue from the people that sign up with you, then you get sponsors. And your sponsors could be, again, you can create sponsor packages. If you want the podcast, it's X amount of dollars. The podcast and the video, it's X amount of dollars. You want podcast, video, and some mic time and a live event, there's so much. So, if you want to be on my link, whatever it is, so much. So you get great income from that as well. Also, the ways you can do it is being able to create your own webinars and webcasts where you inform people. Because you think that, like I showed you this morning, or told you earlier about me teaching other people to dance. So say, for example, you think that people know, how to do something, how to do a rehab. Just do, a webinar, or, do a class, or do a mastermind, or do something that you can charge people for your knowledge. They don't know. Knowledge is interpreted 2 different ways. You can get knowledge from experience, having years of experience. You can get knowledge, like they say, reading 7 books. You can read 7 books or go to 7 hours on YouTube, and you can learn to become an expert in certain different areas. So just teach and what you know. but it also gives you another revenue stream, it also reinforces what you're doing, and it gives you more credibility to work with. You can create, so what have I covered so far? You have 7? So you can take the knowledge, establish what it is, do your research, build your foundation, live launch, a launch. So when you go do your launch, you say, hey, I got this video, I got this podcast, I got this happening, so you give them your whole little thing so they can all know. You can get them engaged, because people will come, you know, and it's a lot of things you can do for free, different places. And then we talked about promoting it via the internet, you know, as far as the video, the podcast, the video, social media, and then you can also create a learning experience with us, a mastermind. You can create a mastermind. People pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for masterminds. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so, I mean, they will, oh yeah, you know.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so they will, so if you become an expert in that niche, and you're promoting yourself, so what's the big difference between Susie Orman and another financial advisor? You tell me.
Promotion.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'll see that now we can promote ourselves for free. And we can promote ourselves worldwide. We don't have to even be local. I like promoting myself in other countries. And how I did that is I reach out to other countries, and I ask them for, to come be on my board of influencers. So you set up your criteria, and I said, well, if you have more than 5,000 women in your database, and you believe believe in our mission, what we're doing, then you can be on our board of influencers. And what we'll do is I'll interview you on YouTube. And again, what are they going to do? They're going to share it with all their people in France and South Africa and Australia and Canada. And I said, now I'll do the same. I'll give you ladies, when it comes to us, they'll get a discount, or they get a members discount, things of that type. Or they can include that with their packages, their membership as a bonus. So maybe you have that 10-step this or 7-step that. Say, I will include it with the package of all the things that you're doing. If you have a membership organization, if they have a class, for Alton has a class, or the tour, bus tour. So say, for example, you decide, for everyone that signs up for your bus tour, I'm going to throw in this bonus, which is like, 10 free profiles, 10 free whatever it is. That sometimes these things you give away already for free, consultation, but they don't know that. And then that means that everyone that goes through him, he's advertising, promoting you, but it makes him look good because he's giving more to his clients. So being able to do that. So between being able to promote yourself, being able to create the content, find the content is there, just Google it, you'll find it, the topics, speak on that for what you know, bring in other experts, because now that you are bringing in more credibility, it's called credibility, more visibility, and revenue streams, because you have this affiliate with them. So I'm not sure, it's pretty touchy in the real estate industry. I know some industries, if they sell something, or they sell something, like a cabbage, for example, is a funding thing online. If I put them on my website and someone buys anything, I get a percentage of that. And most companies have an affiliate, whether it's a movie theater or airline tickets or Amazon. I always, at some podcasts I've done where I always recommend a book, and I have an Amazon, so my speaker, one of the questions I ask them, tell us what you're reading right now. They send me this book, I have a picture of the book there, click here and buy that book. So because so-and-so is reading that book, I didn't want to buy that book, so I like that interview. So I get paid. Amazon's really, really small, though. You don't get a lot of money for that. But a lot of other programs you can get. We used to make $13,000 a day, between $10,000 and $15,000 a day on affiliates, because they had packages that were like $2,000. We get 50%, then it's $1,000 for us and $1,000 for them. So, we started up doing small, and we said, hey, nothing less than 100, and nothing less than 500, and then we said nothing less than 1,000. And if you get a few of those, not a lot, and that gives you extra revenue from that. And it could be, again, it could be course, it could be websites. We even did a whole podcast series on called Good Monday Morning, and it was online, the best online products and services for the busy professional. And we interviewed, and they did a live presentation of their best services, like GoDaddy, like PayPal, all those companies will do all that, they all want to promote themselves. So you can ask the biggest company, so what did that do for us? They said, wow, she interviewed PayPal, she's interviewing GoDaddy, she's interviewing that. They don't know whether it's the president of GoDaddy, it could be the manager, or it could be the maintenance guy, as far as they know. But he was able to show us, but we had that name, we had that affiliation to say that we were interviewing a representative from GoDaddy. They were with us, and they were showing this to our community. And we did it all affiliates, which means anytime someone clicked on it, and we disclosed it as an affiliate, they liked it, and then we got paid for it. So you have enough of those running, that can bring you lots and lots and lots of money. Anything that I'm telling you about, if you Google money made in affiliates, or who made $1 million in affiliates, it's pages and pages and pages of people that make millions of dollars in just affiliates, or make millions of dollars on YouTube, or make millions of dollars on podcasts. And if you want to see a multi-million-dollar podcast, go to John Lee Dumas. It's called Entrepreneur on Fire. Have anyone seen that, his things yet?
Spell his last name?
Dumas, D-U-M-A-S. And I think he's shortened it to EOF.com. If not, go to entrepreneuronfire.com. And the right-hand column, he literally has his income. And he shows, if you click it, he'll show you all the different things, ways he's made income. Top sponsors, affiliates, things that he's sold. And he'll tell you what his expenses are. And since 2012, he interviewed me, and I've interviewed him on his podcast. You should listen to his podcast. He'll tell you what he spent for his team, and they had a low month, what happened, and whatever. All the money's there. And millions of dollars, like maybe $2 million, $3 million, just on his podcast. He does it on Monday. He does 8 of them on one Monday. So he gets it all done on one day, and he has an extra one just in case he's on vacation, something like that. It's on the phone, and he has it sent out. So there's every category that I was saying. If you want to Google millionaires, they make those. So you don't have to do everything I'm talking about. You can just do one thing and still be able to get it. But it just helps you make money what you're doing, but it helps you promote what you're doing. The biggest thing is just the last thing is the biggest thing and the most important thing is believing in yourself. When you're making this transition, the hardest thing is to believe that you're going to be able to have the success others have in this industry, because you're leaving a steady job, or you're leaving something that you know you're comfortable with, and you're going to have the naysayers that so I love you, but or you're going to do great, but what are you going to do about this, and this? You're going to have a lot of chatter in your ears. And what I do to combat that is that I have on my iPad, I listen to How I Built This. I just know my battery, something's going on, but How I Built This. And How I Built This is a podcast. And you should write this down. Has anyone listened to How I Built This? You should write it down. It's a free podcast. Go to iTunes, and they do interviews. And they have interviews from guys that started Home Depot, from Starbucks, to, from everything.
What's the name of it?
How I Built This. And the gentleman that interviews, I forget his name, but I listen to it all the time. I will listen to one on my iPad before I go to sleep. I'm almost finished anyway, so it's probably going to reach. It's okay. And then I'll put it under my pillow, and if I'm first thing in the morning, I'll listen to another one. And that's when I'm getting nervous about what I'm doing, when I'm getting questioning myself about what I'm doing. Can I do this? When I start just whatever it is, I listen to other people's stories. Because you realize that even the people on Airbnb, you realize that it wasn't that easy. We see that, we see the one end of it, but you don't even know what they went through during that process. And you need to have that. You need to hear from other entrepreneurs who's with your journey, because everyone else that has a steady job, their mindset is completely different. They're not going to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. So you've got to constantly buy into the belief and constantly believe in yourself. And when you do your podcast, when you do the videos, these things are affirming to yourself that yes, you are doing it. Because the worst thing is be thinking about something forever and not being actually doing it. So what I was doing is that after I had the downturn in the market, I was figuring out where my next step is. Where I would go from here, because I'm doing the rest of my life, what kind of thing. And I knew the women's group was great, but it was like really pretty labor intensive. And I knew real estate was also great, but I needed money. So I bought a little condo, started again in Palm Desert, as I mentioned, with a cellar carried. I was going to do a fix and flip. As soon as I moved in, my mother passed away. Relationship was dissolved. My kids were empty nesters, and I just kind of I had lost 10 properties prior to that. So I felt like I just lost everything. And so I really went there to heal. I realized that later, about a year or 2 years later, that I was needed to go there to heal. And then I started coming in LA all the time, and I would rent a room. I rented a room from a friend. So when I came in, I didn't have to go back and forth or stay in a hotel. And finally I said, okay, now I'm ready to go back into the city. I need the city because I'm not ready to retire yet. And my girlfriend had this big room, studio, a little bigger than this. And she says, you want to come in, and while you're looking, stay here and pay X amount of dollars? And I said, I don't, I'm too old trouble to have roommates and people trying to do that. It was like that stigma attached to it. And I said, I went another week, I said, you know what, this is gonna be good for me. Because there was movement in the house, there were people in the house. She had 3 daughters, her fiance had 3 sons, and another friend had 2 daughters, and I had 2 sons, all between the ages of 18 and 32. So the house had basketball courts, tennis courts, it had pools and spas and jacuzzis and ping pong. It was like a playground for young adults. And the energy, and you're shaking your head, yeah, same thing I said at first too. But it was good energy, and I realized I wanted to be around people, and I wanted to work from home. And I didn't want to work from home alone. I've always worked from home for the most part, and since I had kids, I wanted to work from home. So I said, I just want to work from home. And that's where the name came. I want to live where I work. I want to work where I live. And I want to do it anywhere in the world. And that's how I came up with HomWork. HomWork. And I did exactly what I told you to do. I researched it, I asked people about it, I started testing it out, found out what the WeWorks were like, what the Airbnb were like, what other live work share was like. I learned everything I needed to learn about the sharing economy, the price points, how easy the entry and so forth, going on sites and so forth. And then I got the legal, corporation, the names, the copyrights, all that part, the accounting part. And then the next thing I did, but I decided one thing, that I wasn't going to do this alone. All the companies I did before, I bootstrapped it, did it myself. And said, I don't have the runway, I don't have the time, I need to do it collectively. And I need investors with this. Because even though I believe in myself, I need other people to believe in it as much as I believe in myself. And evidence would show up by the money that they invest. So I started asking investors, and I got the legal work done for a promissory convertible note, and got investors in it. And that allowed me to get my first house. And what we do is that we acquire luxury style homes, and we build out the bedrooms. We design the bedrooms so they're all live-work suites. So you can live there full-time, or you can live there part-time, or you can be just a drop-in. So for single women, empty nesters, widows, women that travel out for sales, that stay in hotels, they don't want to stay in hotels, they want to be able to get their stuff in the room and leave it there, and not be stuck in it back and forth, then this is perfect for them. Then we have conference rooms, dining rooms converted to conference rooms, we have offices, we have studios, we have all different types of things where they can actually live there and work there. They can do events there, they can do retreats there, all that type. They pay one flat fee, they pay a membership fee. They'll have certain things that they want to stay overnight or live there, they pay additional fee from that point on. For companies and corporations that want to put all their team in one place, people that are transitioning, they're moving from one place to the other, and we want them to be all over the world. So we have our signature properties, and then we wanted to have host properties, because a lot of our ladies have guest houses, guest rooms, and vacation rentals. So we said, put yours on our channel. So while we're marketing our properties, we're marketing your property as well. And so what we developed the program is we have 3 revenue streams with that. We have the membership fees, which costs us about $30 a member. The minimum, membership is $470. So that's basically almost pure profit. The second thing is that's for them to have access to the home. We have 2 trips a year. We're going to Cuba in January to the Jazz Festival. We're going to do a mission trip though, so this happened to be our mission trip. All the Jazz Festival is going on in Cuba. We do different events. We do private podcasts with them. I do interviews with them. I have a digital magazine that I do. They feature them in, so they get a package for that. That's one revenue stream. We can have as many members as unlimited. Then we have the signature properties, the ones that we own and operate. So others that want to invest in real estate, they can invest in with us as a syndication and have access or have equity in a property. So that's our properties. Then we have host properties. We take a percentage of the host properties. 8% if you manage it yourself and you're there, or 20% if you want to give us the keys and we'll manage it. So it's a smaller amount, but it doesn't cost us anything besides they pay out their fee. We get the photographers, we get it uploaded and so forth. And that's how we can expand our properties wider without having to purchase them or on them ourselves. So we adjusted since January about this year. We incorporated last February. It's been a long time raising money and just getting the basics done, like I told you. But we have 8 properties, and we have about 10 of them in queue that we're just waiting now to hire someone else to bring them on board. We've done our videos, we've done Facebook ads, we're going to do a crowdfunding so we can get even more funds from that property. But we just started, we did a Facebook Live on Tuesdays called HomWork Live every Tuesday at 12. We hit it on hold, that's probably going to start it again. I'm bringing other groups, organizations, so I can, again, utilize their community, utilize their talent, utilize their people, and be able to explode it from there. And we've built it out for 5 years of building it to sell. So that means in 5 years' time, we did our financials for $50 million. Now we may or may not not get $50 million, but we were building it to sell, and they needed to see that we could scale at that point. But what people would buy it from us, the person that would buy it from us would be because we have that niche market of women in business. And women are the #1 consumers, and right now, the amount that women consume in America beats all of what's consumed in Japan. The dollars that are spent in consumption in Japan, and that's huge. Because we buy for ourselves, we buy for our families, we buy for our businesses. So they're gonna buy us because we have that niche market, and that's why I'm telling you the value of having a niche market. Somebody, other Amazon or Google, someone that wants that niche market will acquire us, not because of what we're making, not because of what we're doing, because of that. But the co-sharing, co-working industry is huge. So if you have properties, if you know people have properties, women, men that own properties or has properties or want to buy a house. Some people will say, I want to buy a property, but I don't want to manage it myself. I don't even want to manage the managers. Then they can buy it for us, and we will go in as their partner and do the maintenance and the management and the marketing, and we split the profits. So that way, again, we're able to get more properties without having to put a dollar in it, because it's a win-win situation. So there's a lot of different ways you can expand what you're doing, and like partnering with people, like as Alton said, partnering with people, collaborating with people, individuals becoming affiliates, all those different things you can do to be able to market whatever you're doing. So that's homework. I don't know how much time I had or have, but I just wanted to give you as much information I could.
My phone died on this one.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
Hi. Is there questions or somebody?
Yeah,
No.
somebody had a question. Would you
No.
go to Riverside to do a presentation like this?
Yes.
Because so I told her, I said the short answer is yes. So because people have been really chiming in online
really?
because I've been sharing it with my group. Holly's folks that seeing it online because I tagged you,
You tagged me.
and I tagged Rocio. So what you've been talking about, it's not about my list, it's what other people's list they can do.
Exactly.
And so
What
that's
is this
the power.
costing me?
And so she's
what's
been
the big
here
deal?
less than an hour talking, and you've got people who want you. I actually had Armando Montalongo watching this video. He
we're
was
talking
following
about
me,
him.
and he was watching you talk about what your presentation.
Well,
And I'm watching that, and that's why I was like, I stood up, I was like, oh, he's watching.
no, I do a
So-
class, a workshop on the Power of 7, where I actually take you through it and you actually do it I show you how to do it, we develop it, and you walk away with it done. It's called a Get It Done program, which means that you come in we do a preparation and a strategy session, what do you want to specialize in, what do you really want, like if a realtor had a realtor say, I want more multi-million-dollar properties, I want all jumbo loans, I don't want any more small properties, we've been doing this for years. Well, then we immediately go in and target that with keywords, what languaging, what kind of things you need to do. And when you leave, you've got your videos, you've got your podcast, you've got your event on the schedule, you've got your social media together, you've got your guest list of people you're going to interview, you Google the interviews, you've got all of that you can even create a book. There's a book called, there's a way you go in and create your own articles, and you take those articles and create a book from that. So you've got it all when you're finished, and you do it hands-on. And then you stay on every Tuesday at 10, we do a call to make sure you're on target, make sure you do it. So I will give you the information that I have, and this, if you want to reach out to me, give me a card, and we'll make an appointment, I can talk to you about how I can send you. Yes.
Can you say the name of the company again, the program, and because it's the 7.
The Power of 7.
The Power of
Power of
7.
Seven. Power of
There's a
7.
lot of young ladies on this video right now
yay.
that are watching you, and we want them to know that this is a very, not just for women, but it's
Yes.
really powerful. And I
Yeah,
know
even
you
for men, I
spec-
work with men as well.
Right, work with men, but we really want to let other young women that are entrepreneurs out there know that there's some programs out there for them to be able to help them grow their business.
Exactly, whether you're starting, fixing, or building your business. So I work with people that are starting, they don't even know what they want to do yet. I say they come in and we do a strategy session, like what do you like, what do you enjoy, what do you know? Whether it's butterflies, whether it's doing this. And it's millions of dollars in all those industries. There's one more woman loves butterflies, we found a $1 million way for her to make $1 million through butterflies. So anything is done, and then we actually do it. But then we work with 7-figure women that say, I have this multi-million-dollar business and I'm kind of tired, I'm burnt out, and I got this expertise, and I want to play golf, or I want to play tennis, I do what more. And we take it how to translate that. How do you monetize that? How do you take all that information and create programs and videos and stuff? They like speaking. One woman was a veterinarian for dogs. She was here for eyesight ophthalmologist for dogs. I didn't know there was one. It existed. And so she became allergic to the dog hair. So then she played tennis. So we got a point. She got sponsored by Animal Society, Animal Society of food, animal food. They sponsored her to go around the world, not just around California. California and around the world representing their product, and she was able to play tennis, and she was able to do podcasts, just because that's her transition. You transitioned her from that. So whatever you're doing, wherever it is, whether it's coming from what you're doing now to get into real estate, or real estate doing something else, you utilize those tools that are available, and in every industry that I refer to, there's people making millions of dollars with it. And then go online and search it, and you'll see. So if you find out, when you do the Power of 7, we do everything, you find out which one you like the best. You know, I didn't know I was gonna like video, but I really love being in front of the camera. Then great, start there. Oh, I like being in front of people, talking to people, I'm a great speaker, then start there. I like writing, I like the written word, then you'll start there. So you start somewhere where you're comfortable, and you get started. Once you get started, it'll flow, and you'll wanna do it all the time, and people will attract you. There's no excuse, the world is your playground right now.
Mm-hmm.
The World Wide Web, you can reach billions and billions of people all over the world, so why not? And it doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be educated, just pick one thing that you love talking about, and you love sharing, and you like sharing it too.
Well, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Desiree, that was awesome. Wasn't that awesome, guys?
Yes, thank you,
Believe in yourself,
Desiree.
Believe in yourself, keep that belief, and find those little tools. You know, listen to those podcasts, because as you hear those stories, it's like, yeah, I can do it. Because no matter where you are, you doubt. There's always those moments like,